Hey everyone, thanks for Learn to Play Games. My name is Lance, and today I'm going to look at a brand new game coming to Gamefound called Divinus. This is a new one from Lucky Duck Games. It is a 2 to 4 player game that takes roughly 45 minutes to an hour to play, and is a competitive game that contains 3 different modes. The first is a legacy style mode, which means that you're going to permanently be changing the game as you play through the scenarios, which means that you'll be adding stickers to the board itself, which are not going to be able to be removed, to the tiles, to your player board or your player boxes, and even the dice that you're going to be using. Now, I have been told that the stickers that are going to be added to the dice are not permanent, so you'll actually be able to take those off and change them around in some of the other modes that are going to be included as well. So in the game, you are going to be playing demigods that are trying to gain the favor of 2 different pantheons. You're going to have the Greek gods on one side trying to defend their land from the Nordic gods that are trying to come over and take their land over. So as the demigods, you're going to have to play through these scenarios, making all kinds of different choices, trying to complete the different quests, and building your map with the tiles that are out there. You're going to do this by placing a certain number of dice on these different locations to claim those tiles, and then once you claim them, you're going to have to add them to your board in a grid pattern of 4x4. So you'll have potentially 16 tiles in each scenario once you're able to complete that. Now, the game itself is also going to come with an app, which is going to track and narrate each scenario as you play through them. It's going to introduce you with the story of that scenario and then instruct you what to do from there, and have you making different choices and all kinds of different things that are going to impact later scenarios, and it's going to track all of that on there. It's also going to keep track of all of your scores as you gain favor from the different pantheons. It's going to add those right in so you can always see how the players are doing, and if you're working your way up, if you need to work on certain things or try to get favors from certain pantheons to help you out in that overall score. It's also going to allow you to scan different locations, again, to give you different choices and different things that are going to continue to narrate as those stories go on. Now, at the end of this campaign, the player that has the most favor will be the winner and a new god within this new pantheon. And only one will be chosen, so it's going to be a tough battle throughout the campaign, but one of you are going to be able to do it. So then there's 2 other modes that are also going to be included. An eternal mode, which will allow you to continue to use the game after you've completed that campaign. And then there's also another mode, a standalone mode, but I don't know much about either one of those as they've only given us a little bit, and this is a prototype, so a lot of it is still subject to change. And they'll have hopefully more information as the campaign goes on. So in this video, I'm going to show you the main features of the game and give you a basic idea of how the game plays. I also have a full playthrough that me and my friends did. I'll have a link up in the top corner of that if you'd like to check out that. We played through the second scenario where they introduced 2 of the different gods from the pantheons. We'll have Ares on one side and Thor on the other, and they're going to clash together, and only one will live through that scenario. So you definitely want to check that video out. And as always, if you find these videos helpful, if you like what I do, please consider that like button, subscribe to my channel. It's one of the easiest ways you can support channels like mine so we can continue to grow and be able to produce this content. If you want to stay updated on all my videos, so considering that bell so you get notifications anytime I release new stuff. So let's head to the table and we'll see what this one's all about. First, let's look at the demigods that players can play as, and there's going to be 4 different ones included in the game, and here I have examples of 2 of them. First, each demigod is going to have their own tuck box that is going to have different information on it that players are going to be adding throughout the game, such as the demigod's name and different titles that demigod will get later in the game as they complete different things. On the side of each tuck box is going to be spots that you can record your favor with the gods, and it's also going to be tracked in the app. And then the back of each demigod spot is going to be spots for artifacts. Again, as the demigods go through the game and complete different scenarios, they'll be adding these to the back of their box. Each demigod is also going to have 6 dice, and based on the number of players will be the number of dice you use. So in a 2-player game, you use all 6. In a 3-player game, you use 5 of them. And in a 4-player game, you're going to use 4 of them. Throughout these scenarios, you're also going to be customizing your dice by adding stickers to them. So as you can see over here on this other demigod, I've already started adding stickers to mine, and these are going to change the values of your dice and give you additional options with them, such as this one here with a 3-6. When I have that symbol, I can choose to use it as a 3 or a 6 when I choose to use that die. And there'll also be higher values as well. Another main feature of the game are the map tiles, which are broken down into two different groups. These will be purchased from the main game board throughout the game or throughout the scenario, and then added to your own custom map that you're going to be building to accomplish different quests and meeting the different requirements of the pantheons to gain favor from those gods based on different requirements that they have, which I'll cover in a little bit. Each of these tiles is going to have different terrain types on it, such as water, forests, and mountains in different combinations. Some of them will also have symbols of the Greek gods or Viking gods, as well as barbarians, and you'll also be adding stickers to these tiles throughout the scenarios. Other tiles will also have sacred lands on them or sacred spaces that are going to have different effects as well. Each one of the scenarios in the campaign is also going to come with its own special box that is going to contain all the different things for that scenario, such as quests and different gods that are going to take part in that. In this first scenario box, we have 3 different quests, and each one of these quests will have a name and the requirements for completing that quest. And the player that meets these requirements first will be the only player that can complete that quest, and then it'll be removed from the game unless the app says otherwise. So with the 3 basic ones we have here, the player that has 4 barbarian symbols on their map first will complete this quest. Player that has the 4 Viking symbols first will complete this. And then finally, the player that has the 4 Greek symbols will complete that. Then we have our 2 main gods that are going to be part of the game. We have Gaia, and she is going to be for the Greek gods, and she is going to give you different favor at the end of each scenario based on having the most of each of the different types of land. So we have plains, water, and mountains. And she gives 2 favor to the player that has the most, and 1 favor to the player that has the second most. Then we have Ymir for the Nordic gods, and he is looking for the biggest collection of land within each of the types, so plains, water, and mountains. And again, he gives 2 to the first player and 1 to the second player. Another main feature of the game is going to be the app, which you can use on your phone or tablet, and anytime you start a new game, we'll select that, and it's going to instruct us on how to do this. So we're going to select the number of players, so I'm going to go ahead and set up for a 2-player game, and then it's going to give us the introduction with a narrative that we can read out loud that's going to give us the backstory to all about this and have us introduce ourselves. So our characters will name ourselves, so we'll just make this nice and easy, and I'll select that one, and then let's go ahead and do this one, and we'll go with her. Then it's going to instruct us to place a sticker on one of our dice faces, and this is going to be the 3-6 sticker, which is going to tell us all about that, and then we will continue on from there. And then again, it's going to give us more narrative, additional narrative, and then it's going to start telling us about setup for this particular scenario. So it'll have us open up the scenario 1 box and then start placing out the different components of that with more information. Then it'll have us place out our quests, and it gives us a little bit of information on those. And then we're ready to begin the game. So from here, it's going to have 3 different sections that are going to be on the bottom of the app. The first one here is for scanning different locations and selecting them. You can either scan them with the camera, or you can manually enter them as well. Next, we have our score. So this is going to keep track of our god's favor for both the Greek gods, the Nordic gods, and then combining the 2 together to get a different value. And this is going to give us our current rankings in all of those throughout the scenario. We can check this at any time. And then finally, we have our different quests. So as we can complete quests, we'll click on that quest and select the character or the player that completed that, and then it's going to give us some more narrative on that as well. And the last thing I want to go over is a sample turn and explain basically how the game plays. Now, as these scenarios progress, they're going to continue to add more complexity to the game, so all I can really cover right now is from scenarios 1 and 2, as those are the only ones that were included in the game. But this gives you a good idea of the basics of the game and how it will progress from here. So with that being said, the last thing for setup is each player is going to ready their dice. They're going to do this by rolling the group of dice that they have, and then we'll be ready to begin. So I'll go ahead and take care of this real quick. Oof, terrible roll for her. And from there, then you would start with the first player and proceed in a clockwise manner with each player getting to take a turn. Now, before I cover that, let's take a look at the main game board itself. So you're going to have two sections that are going to be broken down from the two different supply piles, and you're going to have 6 tiles out for each one of those, with each tile having a number underneath it. That is the total that a player must spend on their dice in order to purchase that tile from the main game board and add it to their map. Then we have the 2 different gods, and if there's other gods that are going to be included, which you'll see later on, those will go underneath them. And then we have all the spots for our quests, and these stickers will not start on the board. These were actually added during scenario 2. So again, the game board is going to change over time as you play through scenarios. As the same with the tiles, you'll be adding stickers to those, which we have one down here already, and some other features as well. So, of course, my player over here has a major advantage because he's already played through the 2 scenarios where she has not, and that's not normally going to be the case. But so he's got some additional numbers on his dice already that are going to help him along with this. So from there, then, during a player's turn, they have 2 different options to start the campaign. Now, again, there's going to be additional things that will be added as you play through the scenarios. During the introduction scenario, you can either purchase or explore to purchase a tile from the market and add it to your area, or you can rest. And when you purchase a tile, so let's go over that first. So I'm going to choose one of these tiles. So let's say that I want tile number 12. So I have to spend my dice values up, or that have to equal 12. Now I can also subtract numbers from those. So say I wanted to do 10, but all I had was 2 6s and a 2. I could do the 2 6s for 12, and then I could subtract the 2 from that to bring me back down to 10 so I could purchase that tile. So you have to have an equal amount based on the tile you wish to purchase. But I went ahead and purchased this one instead. So I'm going to go ahead and place my dice on there. They are exhausted now and I cannot gain them back until I rest. And then I have this tile which I will place on my map or starting my map. And then I also have a sticker on here. So when that comes up, I would have to scan it or input it. So that is number 9. So I'll go ahead and put that in manually. And then it's going to tell me which player did this. So I'll select my player up there. And it has not been introduced yet. So there wouldn't be anything for this yet. But in later scenarios, once these come out, then they're going to have additional things such as choices you're going to make and narratives based on the player that gets it as well. So if you were the one that triggered and put that sticker on there and then picked that up in a later scenario, it's going to have a different story for you than if another player picks it up. So from there, then once my player has that down, so then it'll move over to the next player. So let's go ahead and say that she's going to go ahead and pick up this one. So she's going to spend her 2 3s and place those there, and then she'll add that to her map. From there, then it goes back over to my starting player. So he is going to, I think I'll use this one as a 6, and I'll add that 1 for a 7, picking this tile up here. And then when I pick up a new tile, I have to connect it to any existing tile that I have by a flat edge. So they have to line up. So I'll add this over here so that the 2 water areas line up and touch. From there, it'll move back over to the first player to go. So she'll do this one here and add that water to her map. Going back over to my starting player, he will pick up this one here and add that down here. Moving back over to the starting, or my other player over here, she'll go ahead and pick up this one here, so she'll have to spend these 2. She'll just add that there. Going back over to my starting player here, he is going to have to rest, so he will take all of his dice back and roll them over. And then he also is going to replenish all of these spaces that are open. Okay, so then it moves back over to my starting player, or the other player. She also has to rest, so we'll go ahead and remove those. Maybe she'll roll a little bit better this time. A little bit better. And then it moves back over to the first player here, so I'm going to go ahead and I would like to pick up 8, but I don't have... I do have the 2 4s to do that. Or I could do the 7. I think I'll do the 7 instead. So pick that one up. Add that to my area. So I'm going to do that. Now at this point, I have completed a quest as I have the 4 barbarian symbols. So then I will gain that quest. Again, I will select the quests, and that is Unleashing the Horde. So I've completed it. I'll select my character, and then it's going to give me a whole narrative. And then I have to make a choice. I can either follow Mother Gaia, or I can follow the giant Ice Yamar. So then I'm going to have to make that choice in deciding which one I want to do. And then it's going to have a thing for that. So let's go ahead and say that I do the Icy Giant. So then it's going to tell me that I gain a favor. And I have more narrative as well there. And then I'm going to be placing a sticker out on one of my different pieces of terrain, which I've already done when we played before. So I can't do that now, but that is all of that. And then I also am going to gain the Horde Unleasher tag. So I would add that to my box. And it just has all kinds of other stuff. And then this is going to be returned to the box, as only one player can meet those quests. And then it would continue on. And this is going to continue until one of the players completes their 16 space map tile. You will have a 4x4 grid. And once one of the players completes that, that will trigger the end of the scenario, where you'll go into a scoring step, and each player will score based on the gods that are out there and any other things based on the scenario. And then, like I said, as the scenarios go on, you'll start adding different things. So in scenario 2, we introduced the 2 different forges, where you're going to be able to start purchasing artifacts and then being able to purchase those stickers to manipulate your dice and add different values to them. And then as we go on from there, who knows what'll happen. So all kinds of cool stuff. Well, I hope you found this video helpful. If you have any questions or comments, leave those in the comment section below and I'll do my best to answer them. Or swing by the Gamefound main page and drop any questions you have there as well. I'm sure the creators would love to hear from you and are more than happy to answer any questions you have. Until next time, I'll see you later.